And welcome to our special election coverage from KTVU. We are streaming live for the next hour right here on the Fox Local app. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Meebeck.
And I'm Claudine Wong. We are tracking that statewide ballot proposition, some important local races, and some other notable elections in other parts of the country. The polls just closed in California moments ago, and we just got some results in.
That's right. The biggest question on the ballot, at least for voters right here in California, was Proposition 50. And just about a minute ago, the Associated Press called the race in favor of Prop 50. The initiative will suspend the state's independent redistricting commission and temporarily use a redrawn political map through the year 2030. Now, we're also keeping an eye on Measure A, that's out of Santa Clara County, a 5/8 of 1 cent sales tax increase that is designed to offset federal funding cuts and shore up revenue for health care services and public safety.
Now, on the national level, the Associated Press has already projected that New York City has elected Democrat Zohran Mamdani as the city's next mayor. In Virginia, Democrat Abigail Spanberger has been projected to become the state's first female governor. And in New Jersey, Democrat Mikey Sherrill is projected to win the governor's race there, beating a Trump-endorsed Republican.
Now, the conversation on redistricting comes as 4 states have already signed new congressional maps into law. We're talking about Texas, Missouri, Ohio, and North Carolina. Now, those moves are expected to redraw maps to give Republicans an advantage in as many as 9 congressional districts. States with Democratic majorities have proposed a response to that. Now, Prop 50, as we just reported, has passed right here in California, and Democrats now stand to gain as many as 5 seats in the Golden State. And other redistricting efforts in Virginia and New York could result in 4 additional seats for the Democratic Party, and lawmakers in Indiana are also considering to redraw the state's map there, which could net Republicans 1 to 2 additional congressional seats.
And the race really became a clash between Governor Newsom and President Trump in the first major election of Trump's second term. And our political reporter Greg Lee is here with the implications. Greg, this was a very fast result, as had been predicted.
Yeah, and this is what we saw in all the polls, and certainly this is an emphatic victory, particularly when you talk about Gavin Newsom battling President Trump in sort of this first election here. And now this could give Democrats the momentum and edge they're hoping for in the 2026 midterms, as the control of the House could very well run through the Golden State. Now, I want to tell you, earlier today, without evidence, the White House press secretary and the president alleged voter fraud in California's special election. The president posted this on Truth Social, quote, "The unconstitutional redistricting vote in California is a giant scam, and that the entire process, in particular the voting itself, is rigged. All mail-in ballots where the Republicans in the state are shut out is under very serious legal and criminal review. Stay tuned." State leaders, including the Secretary of State, slammed the president's claims, calling them baseless. Here's what the governor posted in response.
He suggests that the election has already been rigged. Sounds familiar. When we kicked off the campaign for Proposition 50, he sent out Border Patrol with masks to intimidate our kickoff rally. He does not believe in fair and free elections. What more evidence do we need of the importance of Proposition 50?
Now, the U.S. Department of Justice sent election monitors to parts of the state today. The state's Attorney General Rob Bonta responded by sending the state's own observers to monitor the monitors. Guys, again, talking about Prop 50 passing, there was a huge ground game by the Yes on 50 side. They spent a ton of money in a very short amount of time after raising a lot of money, which has led to this very emphatic victory for Governor Newsom and Democrats over the president.
I tell you what, right before I came out to the studio, I saw a live picture from Santa Ana, California tonight. This is like 7:45 in the evening. Long line.
Yes.
People still waiting to vote here in California. What does this say about voter turnout? What are you expecting here?
Well, I think early on what we saw last night is that mail-in ballot was already at 30%. That's not including people that were in line to vote today. Right. And what that tells us is that those votes skewed heavily to the yes side, that the AP could call it, and also that people were on fire about this, that they were motivated to vote because they felt like this was their first chance, at least those on the yes side, to fire back at what they had seen with the Trump administration, some of the actions that have been taken, that we've seen with the National Guard, that we have seen with who they're blaming with this government shutdown, with SNAP benefits. And so that is what really drove, I think, the yes side out tonight.
And we're seeing a high voter turnout in multiple states, so it's not just California. So this surge, as we're looking for national trends, is appearing to be evident in this election. We do have some numbers we do want to put up on the screen to take a look at how these numbers are coming in for this yes vote.
Wow.
74% for the numbers that are coming in right now. Certainly it's very early. It is 8:07, and we'll still have to get some of these numbers. As Mike said, people are still voting because a lot of ballots have to be counted, but people are asking, and certainly analysts were saying, it's not a question of if it will pass, but how big of a margin will send a message as well.
And that is the margin, right? And what we would anticipate from this first batch that we should be clear about is that this first batch is typically just mail-in ballots. And what we know in the last couple of election cycles is that Democrats are more comfortable voting by mail early on. So that is likely what is being represented. We expect that margin perhaps to shrink a little bit because in-person voting recently tends to skew Republican, or in this case, on the no side. But the AP and others would not have called this race if that margin wasn't surely as big as it is. I mean, you're talking 50 points here.
Big night in New York City, Virginia, New Jersey for the Democratic Party. I'm wondering, if this didn't happen, if this Prop 50 did not exist, do you think Democrats would still have a chance to compete in those congressional districts that they're trying to get? Those 5 additional seats come the midterms?
Yeah, there was some thought that Democrats could pick off 2 to 3 seats even from those 5 that they are targeting. But now that they are going to look at these redrawn maps, and this is something we'll talk about with Dave McEwen, is that there will be legal challenges to the results tonight. But Democrats thought they could have picked off 2 or 3. But now this all but ensures it because you've redrawn those maps to benefit them in the form of Democrats. And going back to your point about the national landscape of these other races on the East Coast is a Democratic sweep. And if you look at how Democrats felt in 2024, after bruising losses in all the conversation in the after-action report,
the party was down.
We have no messenger, we have no message, and it is not clear that they have that now, because is it Zohran Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, or is it Spanberger? Is it Gavin Newsom? Who is it moving forward?
We'll find out.
This does give them some motivation moving forward.
All right. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.